Hello. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's get it started. Hi everyone. My name is Stephen Pu. I'm one of the co-founders of the Taraxa project, and thank you very much for attending our monthly update here in Spaces. So going forward, we will be holding a monthly update in Spaces on the second Thursday of every month at exactly the same time. So please be on the lookout, and it's just going to happen every single month. And please come with all your questions. We in all of our social and on our announcements for this specific spaces, we have posted a Google form. If you have any questions, you can submit it ahead of time, or you can just show up and ask the questions live. All right. So let's get into a very quick monthly update, and we will go through the specific questions that have been submitted. And again, feel free to submit your questions live, and we'll try to get them answered here. So we have what's going on with Taraxa. So we have the hackathon happening, and we have over 80 registrants, 80 hackers registered through our partner Dora Hack's website. This looks pretty good because a lot of other projects that are offering probably 10 times more money than we are um, probably get around the same number of registrants. So we are obviously it could be more. We like to have a few hundreds, obviously, but this is a decent turnout, and we're looking forward to the projects that they submit towards the end of the month. All the workshops in the hackathon have concluded. These workshops were conducted by the core team members to help the registrants to help the participants in the hackathon to build more easily on top of Taraxa. And I think there were a total of 9 workshops in total. We are holding regular office hours every single week. So anybody who has any questions can feel free to come through our Discord and ask. The hackathon, to join the hackathon, of course, it's not too late to join. Go to taraxa.io/hack. And to join our Discord for the hackathon, it's taraxa.io/hack/discord. And you can find us on social media, Discord, Telegram, wherever, right? So please feel free to come by and check us out. And it's not too late to sign up. And we're looking forward to all the great builds that are going to be submitted towards the end of the month. Okay. The second thing that is that the grant program has been ongoing. We've had over 50 projects who have applied to the grant program, and we have had a few projects which we've reached an agreement and have already granted them grants. Now, I don't think the foundation has dispersed any funds yet because these grants are all milestone based. So the first milestone for any of these projects has always been that they fully integrate into the Taraxa mainnet. So we're keeping in touch with all these teams and seeing how we can help and figuring out when they're going to finish their initial integration. And for each of the projects, obviously, that where grants are given and integrations are completed, we are going to, pretty aggressively co-market with them to drive adoption for their respective applications that are built on top of Taraxa. So just to give you kind of a high level idea, the projects that have been granted grants are games, cross-chain wallets, no-code AI application builders, and some DeFi infrastructure. So I think these are sort of a good mix of projects, and we're happy that they've chosen Taraxa, and these are all high-quality teams. So I think you know for the grant program or for any sort of layer one ecosystem, what you want to see is really a team that's very dedicated to actually building their project, doing their startup, and really have the persistence, the capability, and really the will to go the long distance. Right, having a dedicated team is extremely important. There are a lot of there are a lot of applications that might not appear so. So it's always sort of a mix. So we're very happy to be working with these teams, and you'll learn a lot more about them when they launch. So, all right, the topic that I think everyone's really interested in is the bridge. So I want to reiterate that the development team is still very much committed towards the end of Q2. Okay, so the here are some specific updates. They're a little bit technical. I'm not sure if you guys want to hear all the technical details. If you do, you can ask a lot more questions in Discord, in Telegram, wherever. So far, the bridge has been deployed into the internal development network as well as one of Ethereum's test networks. I think it's called Holesky. Yeah, so it's been deployed there. There's still one component, specifically the relayer, that we're still building out, and the front end that we're still testing. But we're conducting tests across all the contracts, and simulating stress tests, traffic tests, and any kind of potential attack vectors. So the audit has been scheduled in May. The audit is with Trail Bits. So this was set up early in the year. The entire audit will take 5 days, plus one additional day to review any updates and fixes in response to the previous 5 days of audit. So I think seeing in groups, people say audits are going to take months. No, the audit doesn't take months. It just takes a few days. The contracts that we're deploying, and we have shown them previously these contracts, they deem that the complexity is sufficient, that it only takes them one engineer 5 days to review all the contracts. Contract audits, I mean, just as an additional background, the reason why it doesn't take months and months, I think at some point, maybe a few years ago, it did take that long, but contract audits have been largely automated. There are a lot of tasks that these professional audit companies, a lot of tools that they use to automate contract audits to find common errors that people make that could produce undesirable results, right, in these contracts. So we're not surprised that this is how long it takes. And Trail of Bits, of course, is a very reputable audit firm, and yeah, so we asked whether or not we could announce ahead of time. They said they only announce when the audit starts, so you'll see the announcement when the audit starts. Yeah. So again, we're committed to end of Q2. This is the date that we're committed to, and if there are no unforeseen delays, right? So I do really want to emphasize that with something like a bridge, it's got to be safety first. Safety first, right? So we've seen a lot of bridges over the years getting hacked. There's a lot of sentiment, I think, within the community that says, Team XYZ, blah blah blah, stood at a bridge in a week. Why are you guys taking a year to build a bridge? Well, we could have stood up a centralized wallet in a week, right? So I think those are the centralized bridges that get stood up very, very quickly, and those bridges get hacked. Inevitably, they get hacked. It's just a matter of when they get hacked, not if they get hacked. So what we're building is a decentralized bridge where all the verifications happen on chain. And it's not something trivial to build. And we're very dedicated to making sure that it is safe. So we are committed, and we're going to try as hard as we can for the Q2 release date, end of Q2 release date for this year. Right now, it looks reasonable. But again, we're not going to say we guarantee XYZ date. The only way that any development team can guarantee a release date is that everything has already been built and finished, and they can guarantee a release date. So that's not the case here. We still have a few months to go, but we are, this is definitely the top priority. So some people might, again, in our communities, Some people think that this is not our priority. This is absolutely our top priority. The entire team is foregoing everything else to make sure that the bridge is built, okay, and it's built on time. So anyway, this is the update on the bridge. We will get more clarity around the bridge, obviously, as the testing keeps on going, as the audit keeps on going. So, we will give you, every month we will give you a lot more updates on what's been going on with the bridge. And yeah, that's it. Now, another reminder is that the bridge is just a piece of infrastructure, right? So there still needs to be things that applications that use the bridge, and DeFi applications still are in need of liquidity. So there's nothing that magically happens right, when the bridge actually gets deployed. And in the back, from a business side of things, we are actively working to make sure that we have all the pieces necessary to have the start of a successful DeFi ecosystem. Yeah, that's the other side of it. When a bridge is deployed, nothing magic really happens until the applications that use the bridge actually have the right incentives and the right liquidity in place. And we're definitely working on that as well. Okay. All right. So, looking at some of the specific questions that have been submitted over time, I guess the first one is, who is Marie Tatibwe? Okay, so, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a French name. So she is acting as an advisor to the project, and we're very happy to and very lucky to have her advising us. She has had many, 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 many years of experience in the crypto industry. She used to be the CMO for Gate.io. I'm sure everyone knows, a very large exchange based in Asia. And her primary role is basically to connect us with the right resources, trustworthy resources who we can work with, and advising us on the overall direction of how we can raise better awareness for the entire project. So that's who she is. And there's really there's really nothing I think sort of strange about working with her. I think it's very nice that we're working with her. And yeah, so that's that question. There was another question. I think this question kind of crops up over time quite a bit, and despite the fact that it's been written, I think on the website. So it's about tokenomics, and again, any questions about token economics, you can find it on token.taraxa.io. So that document has been up for years and years, and it really explains pretty much everything anyone wants to know about the token economics. Okay. The specific question that was submitted was that there was a 20% 20% allocation to the foundation. So as written on that website, the 20% allocated to the foundation is meant to be used to bootstrap the nodes on the mainnet. Okay, that's all it's meant to do. It's never meant to enter circulation. It's not even supposed to claim any yields, right? You don't have to believe me. You can go and check the wallet. So if you go on to Taraxa, the Taraxa Explorer, mainnet.explorer.taraxa.io/holders, and you'll see a list of holders by ranking. And I think it's probably the third address down the line, and they all have tags on them, right? They all have tags, so you can see which one is the foundation wallet. You can see that that wallet has only ever delegated into nodes. Those coins have never gone anywhere else, and it has never even claimed any of the yields that are from the nodes, right? So you can see all of that on chain. You don't need to trust what I'm saying. Just check on chain. The only thing that wallet is used to do, and the coins in that wallet is used to do, is to bootstrap the mainnet network with staking and delegation. So that's what that's used for. Again, I would encourage anyone with these kind of questions to check the tokenomics website, token.taraxa.io. All this stuff is explained and clearly stated on that website. All right. Another question that was submitted was that after the Aspen upgrade, yields seems to have dropped suddenly, right? So yes, that's correct. And the reason why it's dropped suddenly is due to two reasons. The first reason is that the overall network's yields dropped, right? So if you look at the equation that actually governs the Aspen upgrade and actually calculated it, that yield is no longer 20%. So it's lower than 20%. I don't know exactly what it is right now because it changes from time to time. But it's probably the nominal yield is probably around 16, 17%. And we know the actual realized yields on the network is usually lower than the nominal yield by a few percentage points. So that is around 14 to 15% network wide. And the reason why the realized yield is a little bit lower than the nominal yield is just because of networking conditions, right? Things don't happen instantly on the network. And so because of that overall delay that we're seeing across the network, this happens on all networks. It's not just for Taraxa. And that we're seeing slightly lower yield. So what we're seeing right now, if you go to the community site, community.taraxa.io/staking, you'll see that yields are roughly around 14 to 15% across all the nodes. So that's the first reason, right? The entire network's yield is going down. So that's why it's going down. But it's not gonna, and it's gonna keep going down slowly. Well, the speed at which it actually goes down really depends on the speed and the magnitude in the increase of overall staking. And over the time, I mean, staking is now something that changes drastically. Like, I think we have like 2.1 billion in staking right now. It's not likely that that's going to like double, sort of next week. That doesn't happen very quickly. So you're not going to see step changes in the overall network. You're not very likely to see step changes in the overall yield of the network. And the reason why you're seeing one right now is because obviously the Aspen upgrade has triggered. Okay. Now, the second reason why there was a observed step change in the Aspen upgrade after the Aspen upgrade has triggered is actually a little more interesting. Is that it actually impacts the individual nodes yields. So there was another upgrade as part of the Aspen, which actually normalizes or makes yields much more linearly correlated with stake, right? So this sounds obvious. Obviously, yields should be linearly correlated with stake. The reason why it wasn't exactly so before was that there were a few ways that someone running a node could actually game the yields, right? So the two ways that predominantly that people were using to game the yields were number one, placing their node physically much closer to the faucets that are on the network. So there are these faucets on the network that are generating transactions to make sure the network makes reasonable progress. And these faucets have obviously any server have physical locations. So what people started to figure out was that if you place your node physically close to those faucets, you actually start to produce a lot more blocks because you hear about the blocks earlier than the other nodes. Okay, so that's one way that people were able to gain their yields. The second way they were able to gain their yields was that they used overclocked CPUs, right? So I think we were saying that one of the mechanisms that's used on the network is this thing called verifiable delay function (VDFs), which determine the difficulty and the delay by which before a node can produce a block, and it's not parallelizable like proof of work is, right? This is why proof of work you get into kind of hardware arms warfare, and people keep using more and more hardware over time. For VDF, the only thing that you can really do is for a single processor, right? So people could actually overclock their CPUs and gain a slight advantage. So after the upgrade, one of the upgrades that, or actually a few of the upgrades that we inserted alongside the Aspen upgrade, we have largely eliminated all the ways that people can game. So it doesn't matter if you put it really close to the faucet. It doesn't matter if you try to overclock your CPU. Those advantages have been removed. So what that happens is that before the upgrade, you would have seen nodes with outrageous yields, right? You would have seen certain nodes with, like 30% yield or something like that. And that they're essentially taking yield away because the overall network yield is still the same at around 17% prior to the Aspen upgrade. That means that they're essentially taking yields away from nodes who were not gaming the system, right? So this is, anyway, this whole situation is obviously unfair and has been fixed in the Aspen upgrade. So what you'll see is that certain nodes that used to get huge advantages, like 30%, now are back in line to the 14 to 15% that every single node has. So again, I would encourage people who are curious about this to go on to community.taraxa.io/staking, where you'll see a list of all the consensus nodes, and the range for the yields are much tighter. So there isn't like a large distribution of range of yield ranges. So this is exactly what we want to see, what we want to see. So it's a lot more fair, a lot more decentralized, right? So as a development team, these are all qualities that we're very interested in maintaining and optimizing for. So yeah. All right, so let's see. Those are all the questions that we've received. Let's see, we've gotten any more questions. Okay, we haven't gotten any more questions. Well, okay, so there's one more thing, and this is sort of like a kind of a preview. We're spending a lot of time trying to make sure that we adjust the way that we kind of talk about Taraxa, right? So Taraxa is a layer one project, but I think the competition for layer ones is very fierce, right? I don't think anyone has any doubt about that. And we, as a project, we have always had a application slant, being that team members, myself included, have always believed that decentralized technologies should be used to solve problems rather than, I don't know, maybe playing around with meme coins. I personally don't really consider that solving any problems. But we've always been able to, or we've always been very driven to actually build applications that are useful one way or another. Now, how successful we are at building these applications is another question. But over the years, we built quite a number of different types of applications, trying to figure out which one would actually work in the market. And one of the applications that we built is this decentralized network called Echo on top of Taraxa, and it collects massive amounts of social data, specifically from Telegram, and we are actually running AI agents and AI models on top of this data set to create a variety of interesting applications. I think TrendSpotter is one such application that's going to actually, I think it just reached a closed beta. It's one of these projects that's been spun out of Taraxa, and we're very happy to see, and to see hopefully it'll gain quite a bit of traction, because it's literally using AI and data to make money for people, which I think everyone in crypto loves, most likely, seeing how the market is going. But the network that we built, the Echo network, is a lot more than just one application. It can be used for a lot of different things, and it has been designed to do such a thing. So, given what we're seeing today in the market's narrative, I think we're going to start shifting, actually very aggressively shifting the message and the narratives a lot more towards applications, in this case specifically decentralized infrastructure, physical infrastructure for AI, right? Because that's exactly what Echo is. That's what we built it for. And we're going to start talking about it a lot more. And we're going to be having, a series of internal team meetings trying to map out a roadmap for the overall AI strategy that we have. And please be on the lookout for that. We're not going to. So that's also going to get rolled into the rework on the overall website, and all this kind of branding related issues. So this is something that we've been working on. We're taking it very seriously because obviously, just as a vanilla layer one is not really going to cut it, I think, in this market atmosphere. So we're going to start talking a lot more about the DPIN for AI, which is Echo, and yeah, that's something I think we're going to focus on, and hopefully, and that will resonate a lot more with the market, right? So it's going to be sort of AI on block, that kind of a narrative. I think that's probably going to work out a lot better than just a block back layer one. Okay. Cool. I guess there's unless I'm mistaken, I don't think any new questions have been asked during the update. So per usual, please if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please come to our social Telegram, Taraxa.io/tg, Discord, Taraxa.io/discord. And if you have questions for the monthly update, you can find the link actually in this specific update tweet. If you're here, you know what the tweet is. And, enter your question into the Google form. All right. Thank you very much. And we're working hard to make sure we deliver everything that we promise we'll deliver. The market, it does shift quite frequently. The focus actually shifts quite frequently. So we are doing our best to try to catch up. And thank you guys for being here. And thank you guys for your ongoing support.